What if I told you that everything you believe about your life, your birth, your name, your identity, is an illusion? What if the moment you were born was not the beginning and the moment you die will not be the end? It sounds impossible, doesn't it? But stay with me. This isn't just philosophy. It's not wishful thinking. It's the truth. And once you see it, your entire understanding of life will change forever. You were never born, and you'll never die. Not in the way you think. From the moment you took your first breath, you were given a name, a history, a story. You were told who you are, where you came from, what you should believe, and how you should live. But who told you this? Society? Your parents? The books you read? The schools you attended? The voices of those who came before you? And what if they were all wrong? There is something inside you that has never changed. Through every age, every phase, every challenge, something has remained untouched, unbroken, unchanged. When you were 5 years old, there was an awareness. When you were 15, that same awareness was there, watching, experiencing, knowing. And right now, that same awareness is listening to these words. But if everything in your life has changed, your thoughts, your emotions, even your body, then what is this unchanging presence that remains? This is the great illusion. You believe you were born. But were you? Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a wave in the ocean, rising, forming, and then disappearing back into the sea. Does the wave die? Or was it never separate to begin with, just an expression of the ocean, coming into form, dancing for a moment, and returning to where it always was? This is you, not the wave, the ocean. You see, you were never born because you have always been. The moment your body came into this world, something far greater was already present. Consciousness, pure awareness, the essence of all things. The mistake, the illusion, is thinking that this awareness belongs to you, to this temporary body, to this temporary name. But it doesn't. It never did. Just like the wave never belonged to itself. It was always the ocean. And what about death? Isn't that the end? No, because how can something that was never separate ever truly end? What we call death is nothing more than the dissolving of form, just like the wave returning to the ocean. But the ocean itself, it remains. It always remains. You have never truly come and you have never truly gone. And when you finally see this for yourself, something incredible happens. The fear of death disappears. The fear of loss, of endings, of suffering, it vanishes, because you realize that what you are is not something that can be lost. Right now you might be wondering, if I was never born and I will never die, then what is this experience? What is this life? Why am I here? The great sages of the world, the enlightened masters, they have all tried to put it into words. But words fail, because what you truly are is beyond words. It can only be seen directly. Not through books, not through theories, but through experience. Look at your hands. Look at them carefully. You call them your hands, but are they? Every single cell in your hands was different 10 years ago. Completely different. The skin, the muscles, the bones. None of them are the same, but somehow you still say, "These are my hands." Who is this I that is claiming ownership? Think about it. If you were your body, then you should have disappeared long ago, because your body has already changed, countless times. If you were your thoughts, then you should have vanished every time your beliefs changed. But something has stayed. Something is still here, right now, listening. That is you, not your body, not your thoughts, but the awareness that sees them. The same awareness that was here before you were born. The same awareness that will be here after your body fades. And what happens when you realize this? What happens when you finally see, not just with your mind, but with every fiber of your being, that you were never born and you will never die? Freedom. The entire game of life, the entire illusion of struggle, of fear, of needing to achieve something, it collapses, because you realize that you were never lacking, you were never incomplete, you were never separate from anything, you were never a wave, you were always the ocean. This realization, this awakening, is what every spiritual teaching has tried to point toward, but most people don't see it. They live their lives trapped in the illusion, convinced that they are small, temporary, fleeting. They cling to their names, their histories, their titles, their identities. They fear death because they believe they are something that can end. But you are beginning to see through the illusion. You are not the thoughts that appear and disappear in your mind. You are the one who notices them. You are not the emotions that come and go like passing clouds. You are the sky in which they appear. You are not the body that ages and changes. You are the presence that has watched this entire process unfold from childhood to now. And once you see this, once you really see this, something inside you will shift forever. The fear of death will no longer control you. The idea of being born will no longer define you. You will walk through this world with a knowing, an unshakable knowing, that what you are is untouchable, unbreakable, infinite. Imagine living with that freedom. Imagine waking up tomorrow and never fearing death again. Imagine knowing deep in your bones that nothing can ever truly harm you because you are not this temporary body, this temporary story. You are something greater, something timeless. This is the truth that the mystics, the sages, and the enlightened ones have been trying to tell us for thousands of years. You have never been born, and you will never die. What you are cannot be lost. And that, my friend, is the most liberating realization of all. Think about the last time you were lost in a dream. In that dream, everything felt real. The people, the places, the emotions, so vivid, so convincing. And then, in an instant, you woke up. And just like that, the entire dream collapsed. What seemed so real just moments before vanished into nothing. But here's the thing. While you were dreaming, it felt real, didn't it? You didn't question it. You thought you were the dream character. You thought the dream world was solid. But the moment you woke up, you realized something. The dream was never real. And more importantly, you were never really the dream character. What if I told you that your waking life is exactly the same? That you're in a dream right now, believing yourself to be this body, this identity, this collection of experiences, and that one day, maybe at the end of this lifetime or maybe even right now, you will wake up. And when that happens, you will realize you were never this person to begin with. Just like the dream character was never real, this separate self you believe yourself to be was never real. Look at your life. From the moment you were born, you were given a story, a name, a history, a set of beliefs about who you are. But where did this story come from? Did you choose it, or was it simply handed to you by those who came before you, your parents, your teachers, your culture? They told you what to believe, how to see the world, what was real and what wasn't. But did you ever stop to ask yourself, who was I before all of this? Who were you before you were given a name, before you were told what to believe, before you started identifying with this temporary body and its fleeting experiences? Who were you before you were taught to be afraid of death? Because something was there. Something was aware. That same something is aware right now listening to these words. It has always been here. It has never changed. It is the silent witness behind every experience you have ever had. And that is what you truly are. You were never born. You will never die. What you are is not a collection of memories, emotions, or thoughts. Those things come and go, constantly shifting like waves in the ocean. But the ocean itself, it remains. It always remains. You are not the waves. You are the vast, infinite ocean. Imagine holding a candle in a dark room. The flame lights up everything around it, revealing the space, the objects, the movement of the air. But does the flame need to illuminate itself? No, it simply is. In the same way, your awareness, the thing that sees, that knows, that watches, doesn't need to see itself. It simply is. It has always been. Right now you might feel like a separate individual, moving through time, heading toward an eventual end. But what if time itself is part of the illusion? Look closely. Where is the past? Right now, in this moment, where is it? Where is yesterday? Where is your childhood? It exists only as a memory, an image in the mind, nothing more. And the future? It hasn't arrived. It's just a thought, a concept, never real in the present moment. So if the past is only a memory, and the future is only an idea, then what is real? Only this, only now. And what exists right now, without any effort, without any thought? Awareness. The same awareness that was present before you were given a name. The same awareness that will be here long after this body dissolves. This is why the fear of death is nothing more than a misunderstanding. You cannot lose what you truly are. You can lose the body, you can lose the mind, you can lose the stories and attachments you've collected, but awareness itself, the thing that watches, that sees, that simply is, that cannot be lost. You were never born, you have always been. But the mind, oh, the mind is addicted to labels, to stories, to the illusion of a separate self. It clings to identity like a drowning man clings to a piece of driftwood. It fears death because it believes in separation, but separation is the greatest illusion of all. Look at nature, look at a tree, the roots, the branches, the leaves. Are they separate? Or are they all just different expressions of the same life? A single wave may rise and fall, but can it ever truly leave the ocean? In the same way, you are not separate from existence. You are not a person in the universe. You are the universe experiencing itself as a person for a little while. And when you realize this, not just in your mind but in your direct experience, something extraordinary happens. The fear disappears. The struggle ends. You begin to see life not as something happening to you, but as something happening within you. You realize that nothing has ever truly been lost, and nothing ever truly will be. Right now, you may be identifying with a body. But what if I asked you, whose body? Is it really yours? Or is it something you have simply inhabited for a time, like a set of clothes you wear for a season before discarding? The cells in your body change constantly. The body you had 10 years ago is not the body you have today, but the awareness behind it all has never changed. What happens to the space inside a jar when the jar breaks? Does the space disappear, or does it simply merge back into what was always there? The same is true for you. The idea of you may seem like a solid thing, a fixed identity, but that's just conditioning. That's just the mind clinging to a story. The deeper truth is that you were never the story. You were never the jar. You were the space inside it all along, untouched, unlimited, eternal. And when this body dissolves, when this identity fades, when the illusion of separation comes to an end, what happens? Nothing. Nothing happens. Because nothing was ever lost. You were never born, and you will never die. So what does this mean for you right now in this moment? It means you don't have to be afraid anymore. It means you can let go of the struggle, the fear, the endless search for meaning outside yourself, because what you are is the meaning. What you are is the eternal. And the moment you stop seeking, the moment you stop grasping for something outside yourself, you will see it. It has been here all along. The journey is not about becoming something more. It's about realizing you were never anything less. Breathe. Feel the presence that is here. Not your thoughts, not your emotions, not your body, just the presence. The silent witness behind it all, that is you, that has always been you, and that will always be you. You were never born, you will never die, because what you are has no beginning and no end. Close your eyes and feel this moment, not as an idea, not as a thought, but as an experience. Something is aware right now, something is present. Before you speak, before you move, before you even think, that presence, that knowing, that is you. Not the body, not the mind, not the story, just this. Silent, infinite, ever-present. You have always been here. Think about your first memory. A distant image, a moment frozen in time. Now think about your second memory. And the third. Notice something? You were always there. You were the one watching. The experiences changed, the body changed, the emotions changed, but you, the witness, remained untouched. That same awareness, the one hearing these words right now, was the same awareness that existed when you were 5 years old, the same awareness that existed before you could even speak, and it is the same awareness that will exist after this body is gone. What you are does not age, it does not decay, it does not disappear, it has no beginning and it has no end, but the mind, the mind insists otherwise. It tells you that you are small, that you are separate, that one day you will be nothing. But can nothingness be experienced? Can you experience your own absence? No, because even the thought of nothingness is appearing in something, and that something is you. Right now in this moment, feel it. There is no future, there is no past. Everything that has ever happened, everything that will ever happen is happening here now. Where else could it be? The past is just a memory appearing now. The future is just an idea appearing now, but you, the presence, the awareness, are not a memory. You are not an idea. You are what sees them. The mind resists this. It wants complexity. It wants explanations, philosophies, stories. But truth is not complicated. It is so simple that it is overlooked. It is the one thing that has never left you. It is the one thing you cannot escape, and yet, it is the one thing most people never realize. Imagine waking up from a dream. In that moment, you don't become awake. You were awake the whole time, you just didn't know it. That is what is happening now. You are already free. You are already infinite. You are already beyond birth and death. The only thing keeping you from seeing it is the belief that you are not. This is why the greatest spiritual teachings don't give you something new. They take away what was never true to begin with. They strip away the illusion, the false identity, the imagined limits, and what remains? What was always there. You, but not the you think you are. Not the identity, the roles, the history. Not the labels, the successes, the failures. Those are just masks, costumes worn for a brief moment in eternity. What you truly are is beyond words. Beyond form, beyond time. You were never born into this world. The world is appearing within you, like waves in an infinite ocean, like characters in a passing dream. Imagine a river flowing endlessly. If you take a cup of water from the river, do you say the water has died? No. It was never separate from the river to begin with. And when you pour it back, it does not disappear. It simply returns to what it always was. That is how it is with you. You were never separate. You only imagined you were. And the moment you see this, not as an idea, not as a belief, but as a direct experience, everything changes. The fear of death evaporates. The struggle to become something dissolves. You stop looking for meaning in temporary things, because you are meaning itself. You stop chasing after peace, because peace is what you have always been. Right now, notice your thoughts. They come and go, but something is seeing them. Notice your emotions. They rise and fall, but something is aware of them. Notice your body. It shifts, it changes, but something remains the same. What is that? Who is that? Not as an intellectual answer, but as a real, living question. Who are you? Not your name, not your job, not your beliefs, not your story. Who are you before all of that? If you look, truly look, you will find something astonishing. There is no separate you. There is only this boundless, limitless, infinite presence. It is what you have always been. It is what you will always be. And once this is seen, life is never the same. There is no more searching, no more needing to prove yourself, no more running from death. Because you realize something profound. You were never born, and you will never die. What you are is not a flicker of light that appears and then fades. You are the light itself. You are not a wave that rises and crashes. You are the vast ocean beneath it. Feel this now, not as a concept, not as a philosophy, but as something deeper, something unshakable, something true. You are not in life. Life is in you. You are not separate from the universe. You are the universe, looking at itself through the eyes of a temporary form. And what happens when this body dissolves? Nothing, absolutely nothing, because you were never the body, you were never the mind, you were always this stillness, this knowing, this presence. You were never born, and you will never die, because what you are has no beginning and no end. Right now, in this very moment, something in you knows this is true, not as an idea, not as a belief, but as a direct, wordless recognition. This knowing has always been with you. It has always been silently present, watching every experience come and go. And yet the mind, so loud, so restless, has spent a lifetime distracting you from it. The mind tells you that you are small, that you are temporary, that you are just a fragile human moving toward an inevitable end. But the mind is only a storyteller, spinning tales trying to convince you that the story is real, and just like in a dream, you have believed it. But what happens when you wake up? The dream collapses, the story vanishes, and what remains is something real, something unshakable, something that was never lost. This is the great illusion, the belief that you are someone who was born moving through time and waiting to die. But when you truly look, when you strip away everything you were taught to believe about yourself, what do you find? Not an object, not a person, but awareness itself, empty, boundless, without beginning or end. You cannot see it because it is not a thing. You cannot touch it because it has no form, but you know it is here, because it is what is knowing this moment right now. The mind will fight this. It will resist. It will demand proof. It will ask, but what happens after death? But that is the wrong question. A better question is what happens after a wave crashes. Where does it go? Nowhere, because it was never separate from the ocean to begin with. The wave was never born, and it never truly disappeared. It was only a movement, a ripple, an appearance in something far greater. That is what you are. Not the wave, the ocean, not the character in the dream, the one who is watching the dream unfold. The greatest mistake is believing you are something that can end. But tell me, has your awareness ever disappeared? Has it ever left? You have no memory of it beginning, and you will never experience it ending, because it does not come and go, it simply is. And when the body dissolves, when the story fades, what you truly are will not be lost. It cannot be lost. It is the one thing that was never born, and therefore it can never die. The fear of death is nothing more than a misunderstanding. It is the belief that you are something fragile, something temporary. But the moment you see through the illusion, the fear vanishes. What is there to fear when you are the entire ocean? What is there to lose when you were never separate from existence itself? You will not die, because you were never truly here in the first place. Not as a person, not as a name, but as the awareness in which all things appear. Look around you. Everything you see will one day change. Everything will one day vanish. The buildings, the trees, the sky itself, even the stars will fade. But something will remain. It is the same thing that is here now, silent, still, unmoving. This is what you are, and when you realize this, not just in your mind, but in your entire being, you become free. Completely, utterly free. Imagine living without the fear of death. Imagine waking up each morning knowing that nothing can truly be lost. Imagine moving through life without the weight of attachment, without the need to grasp, to hold, to cling. This is not just a theory. This is the lived experience of those who have seen the truth. The sages, the enlightened ones, the ones who woke up and saw that they were never the character in the story, but the vast, endless space in which the story was unfolding. You have spent your entire life believing you are something that must be protected, defended, preserved. But what if you were never in danger to begin with? What if the thing you fear losing was never real? What if everything you thought you were was just a passing image, a ripple on the surface of something infinite? This is why the ancient teachings say, die before you die, not a physical death, but a death of illusion, a death of false identity, a death of everything you once thought you were. And when that illusion dies, what remains? Not emptiness, not nothingness, but something vast, something unshakable, something free. Right now, close your eyes. Feel the presence that is here. Not your thoughts, not your emotions, not even your body. Just the pure, silent awareness that is watching it all. That is you, that has always been you, and that will always be you. There is no need to be afraid anymore. There is no need to struggle, to search, to try and hold on to something that was never real. Because what is real, what is truly real, has never left you. It is what is listening right now. It is what is breathing right now. It is what will remain when all else fades. You were never born, and you will never die, because what you are was never separate from existence itself. Take a breath. Let it come and go effortlessly, just as it always has. Now ask yourself, who is breathing? Who is it that feels the air move in and out? The body is doing it, yes, but who is aware of it? Who is noticing the breath, the sound of these words, the sensations in your body? Something is watching, something is aware, and that something is not a thing at all. It has no form. It has no name. It has no boundaries. It is simply here, present, watching. This is what you are. You are not a person breathing. You are not a mind thinking. You are the awareness that sees it all, effortlessly, without effort, without control. This is the simple truth that has been hidden in plain sight, not hidden by force, but by habit, by the mind's addiction to labeling, dividing, and clinging to identity. From childhood you were told you were a name, a body, a collection of memories. You were taught to identify with this fragile structure, this temporary vehicle, but none of that was ever truly you. Like an actor who has forgotten they are playing a role, you have mistaken the costume for the one wearing it. But what happens when the actor steps off the stage? Do they cease to exist? No. They simply return to what they always were. You are not the role. You are not the body. You are not the thoughts that pass through like clouds in the sky. You are the sky itself, open, vast, untouched by the ever-changing weather of life. But the mind resists. It asks, if I am not this body, if I am not this person, then what am I? And this is where words fail, because the truth of what you are cannot be spoken. It cannot be grasped with the mind. It can only be seen. Like waking up from a dream, it happens not by understanding but by realization. Right now in this moment, something in you already knows this. Something in you has always known. There is a deep, wordless recognition that you have never been this temporary character, this fleeting story. Something within you has always sensed that there is more. Not more to gain, not more to achieve, but more to remember. You were never born, and you will never die, not because you will continue in some other form, not because you will reincarnate into another body, another story, but because what you are is beyond birth and death. It is the space in which birth and death appear. It is the light in which the entire play of existence unfolds. And that light, that presence, does not come and go, it simply is. Think about the space in a room. When you place objects inside it, does the space change? When you remove those objects, does the space disappear? No, the space remains. It has always been there, untouched, unbroken, unchanged. Your body, your thoughts, your experiences, they are like the objects in the room. They come and go, but you are the space in which they appear. And just like space, what you are has no edges, no borders, no limits. The moment you try to grasp it, you turn it into something it is not. It cannot be captured, it cannot be owned, it cannot be lost. The greatest mistake humanity has made is believing in separation. Believing that we are separate from each other, separate from life, separate from the very source of existence itself. But look closely. Where do you end and the world begin? Where is the dividing line between what is you and what is not? The breath entering your body was once the breath of another. The atoms in your bones were once part of the earth, the stars, the infinite cycle of creation. Nothing is separate. Nothing has ever been separate. When this body dissolves, what happens? the same thing that happens to a wave when it crashes upon the shore. Nothing is lost, nothing is gained. The water does not disappear. It returns to the ocean where it has always belonged, and you have always belonged. There was never a moment when you were apart from the whole. You only believed you were. So what does this mean? What does it mean to live knowing that you were never truly born and that you will never truly die? It means freedom. It means you no longer need to fear. It means you can let go of the struggle, the endless seeking, the desperate grasping for something to make you feel complete. Because you are already complete. You always have been. You were never missing. You were never lacking. You only imagined you were. Right now, notice what is here. Not the thoughts, not the sensations, not even the emotions. But what is behind all of that? The presence. The silent, boundless knowing that is always here. It does not move. It does not change. It does not age. It does not suffer. This is what you are. And when you live from this knowing, life becomes light, effortless. There is no more need to resist because you see that everything is exactly as it is meant to be. There is no more need to fear loss because you see that nothing was ever truly owned. There is no more need to fear death because you see that what you are cannot die. And so the game of life continues, the dance of form and formlessness, rising and falling, appearing and disappearing. But something in you has changed. Something in you has woken up. You no longer believe the dream. You no longer take the illusion to be real. You can laugh, you can cry, you can experience the full spectrum of life, but now you do it with the lightness of knowing that none of it defines you, none of it binds you, none of it is you. You were never born, and you will never die, because what you are is not something that can come and go. It is not something that can be lost. It is not something that was ever separate from anything else. It is the infinite space in which all things arise and dissolve. It is the vast, silent presence in which the entire universe unfolds. It is the eternal now, the boundless awareness that has always been. You do not need to become this. You do not need to achieve this. You do not need to search for it, because it is already here. It has never left you. It has never changed. It has never been missing. Take a breath. Let it go. Feel the presence that remains. Feel the silence beneath the noise. That is you, that has always been you, and that will always be you. You were never born, and you will never die, because what you are has no beginning and no end. Breathe in. Feel the air move through you. Breathe out. Let it go. But notice, did you do that? Or did it just happen? Was there an effort, or was it effortless? Now, ask yourself, who is breathing? The body? The lungs? The mind? Or is there something deeper, something more fundamental, something that is simply watching, witnessing, allowing all of this to happen without needing to control it? This is the great paradox. The illusion of control, of effort, of struggle. It's all just a trick of the mind. You were never the one doing any of it. Life has always been flowing effortlessly through you, just like waves rise and fall in the ocean, just like the stars move across the sky, just like the breath enters and leaves without anyone deciding to make it happen. You are not separate from this flow. You are the flow. You are life itself, moving, unfolding, appearing and disappearing without ever truly coming or going. But the mind insists otherwise. The mind tells you that you are in charge, that you are the thinker of thoughts, the doer of actions, the creator of destiny. But look closely. Where do thoughts come from? Do you decide them before they appear, or do they simply arise uninvited like waves in an endless sea? And if you are not the one creating them, then who is? Who is this I that claims ownership over something it never controlled? The truth is, there is no separate I. There is only the appearance of a person moving through an appearance of time within an appearance of reality. But behind all of it, behind the shifting sands of experience, there is something untouched, something still, something that has never moved, never changed, never been altered by the rising and falling of temporary forms. That is what you are, not the movement, but the stillness. Not the sound, but the silence in which it arises. Not the wave, but the vast, infinite ocean that has always been. The fear of death, the fear of endings, the fear of losing what is familiar, this is all based on the belief that you are something temporary. But look closely. What has ever been lost? What has ever truly disappeared? Forms change, people come and go, seasons pass, but something remains, something constant, something that has never known loss, because it has never known separation. Imagine a cloud drifting across the sky. It appears, it moves, it dissolves. But where does it go? Does the sky grieve the loss of a cloud? No, because it was never separate from the sky to begin with. And when it disappears, it has only changed form. It is not gone. It was never truly born, and it never truly died. It simply was. And now it is something else. This is what happens when the body dissolves, when the identity fades, when the story of you comes to an end. Nothing is lost, because nothing was ever separate to begin with. The only thing that disappears is the illusion, the false belief that you were ever a separate person in the first place. What you are remains. What you are is what has always been. Right now you are living as a character in a dream. You believe you are this name, this form, this story, but just like every dream you've ever had, there will come a moment when you wake up, a moment when you realize it was never real. And when that moment comes, there will be no fear, no loss, no regret, only laughter, only a deep, endless knowing that you were never in danger, that nothing was ever missing, that you were always home. What happens when you no longer fear death? What happens when you no longer believe in separation? You become free, free from the weight of the past, free from the anxiety of the future, free from the constant need to become something, to achieve something, to prove something. You begin to live, truly live, without fear, without resistance, not because you have figured it all out, but because you see that there was never anything to figure out. Right now in this moment you can feel it, the presence that is always here, the awareness that does not move, does not change, does not come or go. You are not thinking about it, you are it. There is nothing to find, nothing to create, only something to recognize. You were never born, you will never die, you are not moving through time, time is moving through you. And when you see this, really see it, life becomes a dance, a dream that you can enjoy knowing that none of it is truly happening to you, knowing that none of it can harm you, knowing that every wave that rises must fall, and yet the ocean remains, infinite, untouched, unchanged. You are not a person in the universe. You are the universe appearing as a person for just a moment before returning to what it has always been. The body, the name, the story, they are ripples on the surface. But you are the depths. You are the silent, eternal presence in which all things arise and dissolve. And nothing can take that away from you. Take a deep breath. Feel the air move in and out. Notice how life flows, effortlessly, without any need for control. Let go of the idea that you are separate. Let go of the idea that you are something temporary. See what has always been here. See what is looking through your eyes, hearing these words, feeling this moment. That is you. That is what you are. You were never born, and you will never die, because what you are has no beginning and no end. Close your eyes. Feel what is here. Not thoughts, not emotions, just this silent, boundless presence. It has been here since before you can remember. It is here now. It will be here long after this body fades. This is what you are. Not an idea, not a belief, not something that can be grasped with the mind. It is simply this knowing, this awareness, always here, always still, always free. The world moves, the seasons change, the body ages, but you, the real you, do not. You have watched it all unfold. You have seen the rise and fall of emotions, the shifting tides of experience. You have felt joy, you have felt sorrow, you have loved, you have lost. But through it all, something has remained untouched. Something has never changed. That something is you. Not the person you think you are, not the collection of memories and names and stories, but the presence behind it all, the silent witness to every moment. What happens when you let go of everything you have been told about yourself? What happens when you no longer hold on to the idea that you are this body, this name, this story? There is no fear, there is no loss, there is only freedom. A freedom so vast, so absolute, that it is beyond words. The freedom of knowing that you were never bound, you were never born, you will never die. You have always been. Look around. Everything you see, everything you touch, everything you experience, it is all just appearances. Here for a moment, then gone. Every thought, every sensation, every form. It all comes and goes. But what does not come and go? What remains even when all else fades? You, not as a person, not as a mind, but as the awareness in which all of this appears. Imagine a movie playing on a screen. The characters move, the story unfolds, but the screen itself is untouched. No matter what happens in the movie, the screen remains as it is, clear, empty, untouched by the images projected upon it. This is you, not the images, not the movement, but the space in which it all appears. You were never in this world. The world is in you. Every experience, every moment, every thought, it is all appearing in the vast space of your awareness. But you are not limited to what appears. You are not bound by what comes and goes. You are the formless, infinite presence in which all of existence unfolds. And when the body fades, when the story ends, what happens? Nothing, because nothing was ever lost. The wave may crash, but the ocean remains. The dream may dissolve, but the dreamer is still here. What you are does not begin. It does not end. It simply is. This is why the sages have always said, "Die before you die." Not a physical death, but the death of illusion, the death of false identity, the death of everything you have mistaken yourself to be. And when that illusion dies, there is no fear, no suffering, no loss. Only a great, endless peace. The peace of knowing that you were never this fragile thing. You were never this temporary form. You were always the eternal. Think of a river, flowing endlessly, always changing, yet never separate from itself. The water you see now is not the water you saw a moment ago, but the river remains. The current moves, yet the essence is unchanged. This is life. This is you. And yet the mind clings, it grasps at form, it fears change, it resists the inevitable flow of existence. It wants to hold on to something, to make something permanent, but there is nothing to hold. Everything you call yours is slipping through your fingers, like sand carried away by the wind. The body will change. The people around you will change. The world itself will change. But you, the one watching, remain untouched. So what is there to fear? What is there to resist? The ocean does not fear the wave. The sky does not fear the cloud. And what you are does not fear the loss of this temporary form. Because what you are is not temporary. It is not fleeting. It is not bound by time. Take a moment. Notice the space between thoughts, the stillness beneath the noise, the silence behind every sound. That silence is always here. It does not come. It does not go. It is the background to all experience. And that is you. You are not in time. Time is in you. You are not in the body is in you. You are not in the world is in you. And so, the great game continues, the play of form and formlessness, the dance of existence, the illusion of separation. But now, something in you has woken up. Something in you sees beyond the illusion. Something in you knows, beyond all doubt, that you were never truly bound. You were never truly here. You were never truly gone. This is what liberation means. Not escaping life, not running from experience, but seeing clearly, finally, that you were never a prisoner to begin with, that the walls of the cage were never real, that the door was never locked. And now, knowing this, how do you live? How do you move through the world, knowing that nothing can truly be lost, knowing that nothing was ever separate. You live lightly, you love freely, you move with the flow of existence rather than against it. There is nothing to defend, nothing to protect, nothing to hold on to, because everything you thought you had was never truly yours to begin with. And in this knowing, life becomes effortless. The fear dissolves. The struggle ends. What remains is only the great, endless unfolding of existence, rising and falling, appearing and disappearing, while you, the real you, simply watch, simply allow, simply be. Take a breath. Let it go. Notice what remains. Not the thought of it, not the idea, but the direct experience. This, right here, right now. This is all there ever was. This is all there ever will be, and it is enough. You were never born, and you will never die, because what you are has no beginning and no end. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the space around you, the silence beneath the sounds, the stillness beneath every movement. This is what has always been here. This is what you have always been. Not a body, not a story, not a collection of thoughts moving through time, but this presence, this endless silent knowing. It has no age, it has no shape, it has no boundary. It is not something that can be measured, possessed, or lost. It is what remains when everything else fades. You've spent your life believing you are something temporary, believing you were born on a certain day, in a certain place, with a name and a history that define you. But none of that was ever truly you. The body, yes, it was given a name, it was given a past, it was given a future. But you were never bound to that. You were never contained by it. You were here before the name, you will be here after the name is gone. You were here before this body took its first breath, and you will be here after it takes its last. But the mind does not want to believe this. The mind clings to identity, to roles, to the illusion of separation. It asks, but if I am not this person, then who am I? And the answer is simple, too simple for the mind to grasp. You are what is asking the question. You are what is aware of the mind's resistance. You are the space in which the thought arises, the awareness that sees it all. And that awareness was never born. That awareness will never die. What happens when you let go of the illusion of being someone? What happens when you stop believing you are just this fleeting form? Something incredible. The weight of life disappears. The fear of endings dissolves. The endless search for meaning, for purpose, for something outside yourself to make you feel complete. It all vanishes. Because you see, finally, that you were never incomplete to begin with. You were never separate. You were never lacking. You were always whole. Look at the ocean. Look at the waves rising and falling, appearing and disappearing. Does any wave ever stand apart from the sea? Does any wave ever claim to be something separate? No. And yet for a brief moment it seems to exist as something distinct, something unique. But only for a moment. Only until it returns to what it has always been. And when it does, nothing is lost. The ocean remains. And so it is with you. Right now it feels like you are a wave, a temporary form, a fleeting self moving through time. But that is only the surface. Beyond the illusion, you are the illusion itself. You were never separate. You only believed you were. Imagine what it would be like to live without fear. Without the fear of losing what you never truly had. Without the fear of becoming something, because you were never not something. Without the fear of endings, because there are no endings. Imagine waking up every day knowing without a doubt that you are not this body, not this mind, not this fleeting form, but the formless, infinite presence in which all of this arises and dissolves. What happens when you stop believing in death? What happens when you realize that what you are cannot die? You stop clinging, you stop resisting, you stop fighting against life because you see that there was never anything to fight against. Life is not happening to you, it is happening as you. It is not something separate from you, it is appearing within you. And when this body dissolves, when the last breath leaves, when the story of this particular wave comes to an end, what then? Nothing. Nothing happens, because nothing was ever separate, nothing was ever lost. Just as the wave was never apart from the ocean, you were never apart from existence. The moment the form fades, the formless remains, just as it always has. The fear of death is the greatest trick the mind has ever played. It convinces you that you are something that can be lost. It convinces you that you are something fragile, something temporary. But look deeper. Have you ever experienced the absence of yourself? Can you ever not be, even in deep sleep, when thoughts disappear, when memory dissolves, when the body is forgotten? Something remains. Something is there, silent, still, aware. That is what you are. That is what you have always been. And once you see this, truly see it, the illusion of fear loses its grip. The illusion of separation vanishes. The illusion of being someone dissolves into the vastness of being everything. You no longer need to hold on to life, because you see that you are life itself. You no longer need to chase after meaning, because you see that meaning was never separate from you. Take another breath. Feel it come. Feel it go. Notice how life moves through you, effortlessly, without control, without effort. Now ask yourself, who is breathing? Who is watching this moment unfold? Not as a thought, not as an idea, but as a direct experience. This presence, this awareness, this is what remains when all else falls away. This is what has always been. And so the game continues. Life unfolds as it always has, as it always will. The forms come and go, the waves rise and fall, the seasons change. But you, the silent witness to it all, remain untouched, unmoved, boundless, free. You were never in danger, you were never truly born, and you will never truly die. Because what you are is not something that can come or go. It is not something that can be created or destroyed. It is not something that can be lost. It is this, right here, right now. The stillness beneath all movement, the silence beneath all sound, the presence beneath all thoughts. It is what is listening to these words. It is what is seeing through your eyes. It is what is breathing this breath. And it has no name. It has no past. It has no future. It has no form. It simply is. You were never born, and you will never die, because what you are has no beginning and no end.